Okay, today's video, the popcorn edition, that we're going to be exploding lots of stuff. So I wanted to talk, I was inspired by AJ's Mass Fab last night, and I just thought we would do a quick experiment on, not adjacency, volatility, which, because we're building things adjacent, especially when it comes to power, super important. So volatility just means when something explodes, of course, it's doing some AoE damage around it. I'm going to go through to the power plants first, although obviously once you get into mass fabs and nukes, there's some other buildings that do it too. So let's just do some science, shall we? Tier 1 power gens are pretty easy. They're going to pop. They're going to do a little bit of damage, which if someone's targeting that one, then of course they have less work to do to pop the next one. But you don't get any chain reactions with Tier 1 power. That's the nice thing about it, right? So if we pop this first one here, you can see... Got to remember the hotkey. Anyways, so you're doing about 50% damage to the next one. That's a pretty common theme. About 50% damage to the next one, but you notice that it doesn't work diagonally. And of course, if there's any space, it doesn't really go beyond that one thing. So now if this one pops, boy, I should have used a new hotkey. Oh, I can just do this. Anyways, down the line, right? The two side by side take damage, no big whoop, right? You can see that that also didn't really even do any damage to this fella right beside here, right? There, tiny little bit if he's standing right beside it. But diagonally, everything's safe. And this goes for any buildings. I'm kind of using land factories as the marker. Now, there is a funny thing about this, though. For some reason, and this actually kind of surprised me, when you pop a Tier 1 power gen, and these aren't diagonal, these are built on the 1, 2, 3, 4. These are built side to side, so they're actually not doing any damage to the land factory, even though they will do damage to other buildings built side by side. So pop, 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 pop. Again, actually, even though they're providing power adjacency to the factory, it doesn't actually hurt factories. Found that kind of strange. Now, when you get into the bigger ones here, oh, no, I'm not going that way. I'm going down this way. We get into Tier 2 power. Tier 2 power is a little more volatile. When you pop one of these suckers, you can see that's more than half damage. They're quite significant. And if there's a chain of these things, it's very easy to now pop this one and keep going and do damage all the way. Now, again, diagonally though, when we pop this, and you can see some range, I've built some other things around here. I'm using either Tier 1 factories or Tier 1 power. You can see that there is a bit of a reach, but not much. So if this one's right next to it, it's going to go. But these are built with one power gen, Tier 1 power gen space between them. They're safe. So these things blow around them. But again, for some reason, diagonally, they don't hurt each other. If there's any overlap at all, this would have taken the same damage that this one took over here. But diagonally is safe. Okay, remember that. What do we get next? However, energy storage, that's where I wanted to play with. Energy storage is crazy because when you build energy storage between these things, one of these is definitely enough to pop one of those, and then all three of these popping is enough to pop that. I mean, you're not left with anything. This will all chain react. And this was only Tier 2 power with energy storage, right? We saw Tier 3s go up last night with energy storage, and you're just asking for it. The kind of damage this can do will take out just about anything. Again, you can see this guy took a little bit more damage. These are still pretty beefy guys, but I mean, those three energy storage just about leveled that factory, right? Definitely leveled the mass extractor. That wasn't a mass extractor. What was that? I don't recall now. Maybe I made a point defense. Anyways, Tier 3. Tier 3 gets even better because now nothing's safe. Not diagonal, not anything. This took out another Tier 2 power that was spaced out. This took out storage over here. You can see the reach of a Tier 3 going also does not save you from diagonals. Two Tier 3s that built diagonally will almost wreck each other. This guy took a huge chunk. We've seen ACUs die because they're standing too close to power, right? And if you want to see the range of it, we can just do this. Pop it. You see that anything built within 3 squares, 3 full squares, will take damage. These things have a huge range, and that can be a huge problem, obviously, when you start building them right inside your base, which you sort of want to do for protection and shields, but, it's a concern. One more time, we'll pop one of these just to see the kind of havoc this can wreak in a mock base, right? These are point defenses, storage. Boom, look at that. Almost everything went, and that's just from one going up, right? Nothing survived. The factory died, point defense died. This one here is across and diagonal, and it still took that much damage from a Tech 2, so they will chain react. Now, the nice thing you may have noticed, though, is the shield will actually prevent that damage. You can see the chunk that came off of that, though. That was a big chunk. Now, I want this one off. We can demonstrate this. If you do need to build power and energy storage, power storage, same thing. Looking where your shields are actually going to fall, sometimes it's nicer to have a small shield. I mean, obviously I could upgrade this, it would be a big one, it would cover all this, but something popping inside that shield would take everything out. Having your shield walls fall across lines in your power, I mean, I know that takes a little bit of pre-planning. You can do it with templates, but super key. These are Tech 2s. Normally this, with the energy storage, this would blow, doing a lot of damage to this, bring it down to about here, and then these energy storages would popcorn all the way down and everything would die. But you see here with the shield up, boom, now we've stopped the explosion right at the line of the shield. And again, a pretty significant chunk taken off the shield, but it saved the chain reaction. Shields can be key for that, right? All right, quickly we'll go through the mass fabricators. Again, space-wise, I should have, here, let me real quickly do this. I will just show the range on these suckers. Okay, so one of these popping will chain react all the Tech 2 mass fabricators, and you'll see they've got, even though they're small, they've got about the range of a, I guess that's tier 2 would have kept that alive. Tier 2 PGen would have kept that alive. So you can see they've got a bigger AoE radius than tier 2, but this, a tier 3 PGen would have taken this out. So they're somewhere in the middle, and that's just the tier 2 mass fabricators, right? Boom. That shows you how much they're going to take off a Tech 1 land factory. So it's not a lot of damage. It's just enough to cascade other fabs and other energy storage, right? The low hit point targets. But because they will popcorn, you have to be careful. Now this is, I'm not going to bother looking at the numbers, but obviously you do get a mass adjacency. You can see the wires here. Just like building a factory against a mass extractor, you will get mass savings if you build this way. But the danger, of course, is, you know, pop. They all go and your factory's down to half. So, and if you lined it all around, they would all go. That would take the whole factory out. Now, what do we get? We get the Tech 3 mass fabricators, which conveniently are usually built against power. You get big savings on them. You can see the cost on this thing is minus 1200 power. I think built on their own, yeah, it's basically 1500. It's getting a tiny bonus from this one. 1500, and then if you build it against power, it's bringing the cost, the mass cost, or energy cost down to 1218. So significant to do this. When you build mass fab farms, if you're not getting your mass from Sakus and stuff, you do want to clump them together for these bonuses. But, you know, boom, shit, that thing was still alive. Okay, one Tech 3 fabricator will almost take one of these things out, right? And going the other way around, same thing. They're left with just a shred, right? And considering you've probably built other things around like this, everything in this radius is going to now be in this danger zone. So it's very easy to pop a whole fab. In fact, if anything else had gone up here, like an energy storage, anything, it would have popped this. And now you've got this explosion plus this explosion probably taking everything out. So you can easily pop a whole mass farm here if there's not enough shields, right? Stopping everything. All right, other building that significantly explodes. Here I've built everything up here. You can see it just happens that I've got my mass extractor there. I've got a factory, and then we've got a whole row of these PGens just to show the distance. I've got my Saku here. This is the nuke silo. Nuke defense are not volatile, but the nuke silos are. So pop this baby. Not a crazy range, but really good damage. This brought an entire Saku down to less than half. So if anything like your AC or anything else significant is in range of this thing, it's going to go up. You probably lose a Tech 2 or most of a Tech 3 factory. It would definitely have taken your power out, your tier 3 power. Maybe I should have built one of this just to demonstrate. But this will chain react and popcorn everything as well if there's anything else volatile built with it. So take care with your nuke silos. Let's pop this baby. This is the ultimate. I mean, whoever sees paragons, not really me, but if one of these babies does pop, well, that's like a nuke going off in your base. My God, look, it went all the way over to here. Ow. I should turn the screen down from that. Oh, I popped them both. Oh, I don't need them. I had a backup, so I still had mass when I was done, but I accidentally selected them both. Anyways, no big deal. You can see it is literally like a nuke going off. Protect your paragons because you do not want to see them go up. That Saku is obliterated. Right, they go up with a humongous kaboom. So yeah, so did this one. I don't wonder why I selected them both. Must have double click by accident. All right, so that brings me to this. If you do build your mass fabs, like I said, you can have bigger shields. And if I was really trying to protect this, another one here, or like big shields here and here, it's never going to hurt to have overlapping shields. But bottom line is that if by doing this, if any one of these things goes up, you're protecting a lot of stuff. I like this design. I've played with it a little bit. All my outside things can get popped, and they don't. They all get absorbed by the shields. And even if somehow a center one goes, let's take this next. Boom. It took the outside shield gen, and it took a huge chunk off of this one. But you can see everything's going slowly. I'm not ending up with everything down at a sliver. So these things have to be taken. They will continue to pop. Oops, I selected them all again. God damn it. And anyways, you know, they will continue to take huge chunks of shields out, but it's a much slower going process than watching the whole thing go up like that. All right, so adjacency, space hippies for the win. Just be smart. If you're going to build these farms, make sure you put shields on them as you build them. Don't leave if anybody sees you building that one, you don't have it shielded, then that's prime time to attack and pop it, right? But just even in your base, just consider this, that, you know, the tier 2 power can be built diagonally, but tier 3 power near anything important should be spaced out or you're going to lose it at some point. All right, cool.